Hi guys, this video is to walk you guys through how to do your assignment for today and tomorrow. So you're going to start by going to Canvas and under Thursday clicking Chinese Revolution sourcing, and you're going to find this activity here. You're going to start by reading and completing the document right there. And once you're done reading and completing the document, you're going to answer how were capitalism, industrialization, and the impact of communism viewed by the Soviet Union versus China. So you're going to compare and contrast both. So let's go ahead and get started with the first document. So in document 1 here, we have in January 1933, Stalin appeared before a group of high-ranking party officials to give a report on the achievements of the country's first 5-year plan overall development. So I'm going to pause here. And the reason I'm pausing is because there's a lot of really great information. So I'm supposed to be thinking about the historical context, how the time period might change what the document is saying. And right here, I have found some historical context. So I'm going to highlight that in yellow. Historical context, okay? The time period, okay? That's going to matter. That year right there is going to matter for us being able to interrogate this document. Then you're also supposed to think about the intended audience. Who is this for? And how might this change what the document is saying? And right here, it says this speech is given to a group of high-ranking party officials. Now, those high-ranking party officials are people who maybe are pro-communism, maybe are friends of Stalin. They are somehow involved with the Communist Party. So they're going to think of everything he says favorably, like they're his fanboys, right? So I'm going to highlight that in green, okay, because I don't want to forget that's intended audience. And then I also need to think about the purpose of this document. This is to talk about the achievement of the 5-year plan, right? So he's going to be talking about the 5-year plan here. And I'm going to highlight that in blue because I don't want to forget what the purpose of this document is. And then the last thing I want to highlight here is the name Stalin. And I'm going to highlight that in pink because that is who's speaking. And the point of view here is going to matter in terms of how we're going to talk about the 5-year plan. Because Stalin is not going to talk about the 5-year plan negatively. He's only going to say good things about the 5-year plan. Okay, so this is what he says. The fundamental task of the 5-year plan was to completely oust the capitalist elements, to widen the front of socialist forms of the economy, and to create an economic basis for the abolition of classes in the USSR, for the building of a socialist society. Okay, so he's telling us what's the purpose here of the 5-year plan is to oust capitalism. Perfect. To transfer small, scattered agriculture on the lines of a large-scale collective farming so as to ensure the economic basis of socialism in the countryside. Only a modern large-scale industry can serve as a real and reliable foundation for Soviet regime. And we have not only created these new great industries, but have created them on a scale and in a dimension that eclipses European industry. And as a result of all this, the capitalist elements have been completely and irrevocably ousted from industry, and socialist industry has become the sole form of industry in the USSR. Okay, so here he's saying we're amazing. We beat the capitalist. And I want to actually highlight some things here. Let's go back to purpose here. I want to highlight some things here in pink. And that is this line right here where he says that they have eclipsed and even beat the industry of Europe and in the West. He's really exaggerating here, right? So, to use your own language, that's cap, right? Like that's not really happening, but he's talking really well about himself right there. And then we have, finally, as a result of this, the Soviet Union has been converted from a weak country, unprepared for the defense, into a country mighty in defense. A country's capable of producing on a small scale, on a modern means of defense, and equipping its army with them in event of an attack abroad. In our country, the workers have long forgotten unemployment. Look at capitalist countries. What horrors result from the unemployment? There are now no less than 30 to 40 million unemployed. Okay, so there's some things, let me erase this real quick. There's some things that I want to highlight here. And what I want to highlight is this last sentence here. And I'm going to highlight that in green because in yellow, because this takes us way back to January 1933, because he's talking about unemployment in capitalist countries. And what do you know? We check when this was written, or when this speech was given. It's given in 1933. What else is happening in 1933? Big hint. Great Depression. Bingo. This is going to matter for the context, the historical context, right? So now that I'm done reading and kind of highlighting and analyzing my document, I want to answer these 3 questions. Number 1, what can we learn about communism in Russia from this source? So what we're learning about communism in Russia from this source is that communism helped industrialize Russia / USSR. So communism helped industrialize Russia or the USSR. Okay. And now we can also move on to question B. What 3 hip factors that could be used in the sourcing document? So now it's asking us to think, what 3 things out of historical context, which is the yellow, so intended audience, which is the blue, purpose, and point of view. And sorry, I meant intended audience is not blue, it's green. So let me just color code things here. So, oh, that's too big. Let me color code things here so I don't get lost again. Blue is purpose. Green here is intended audience. And the last but not least, pink is point of view. Okay, so it looks like while I was reading and highlighting, I found 3, right? The first one is historical context. So I'm going to put right here. I can use historical context. I can also use point of view because the whole thing's pink. And then I can also use I can use intended audience. I didn't highlight anything, but I know he's talking intended audience. I know he's talking to his high-ranking officials. So that also plays a role. in how he's talking. And then definitely, for sure, we can also we can bring in purpose as well. So actually all four of them we can talk about. But question C is asking us to select only one and write a sourcing statement starting with the word because. And now what I'm trying to get you guys to do here is practice your sourcing for your DBQs. So I'm going to choose the first one, like the easiest one, which is historical context. Okay, so I'm going to say because of the historical situation of the time period, in 1933, Stalin was able to claim communism was better at industrializing USSR than capitalism. At the time, and I'm going to try to be specific here. So at the time, in 1933, or actually I don't like that. So I'm going to say at the time of this speech in 1933, there was a global economic crisis triggered by overproduction of goods and credit debt. This this shows how capitalists struggled while communist countries did not face the same levels of unemployment. So see that right there, that whole sentence there is me interrogating, analyzing the documents. So So because of the historical situation of the time period in 1933, Stalin was able to claim communism was better than at industrializing the USSR than capitalism. At the time of his speech in 1933, there was a global economic crisis triggered by overproduction of goods and credit debt. This shows how capitalist countries struggled while communist countries did not face the same levels of unemployment. So that is my expectation for you guys as you guys do these documents. Good luck. Let me know if you have